Okay, ready? All right. Welcome. You're listening to Beyond the Front Door podcast with Lindee and Rhea. We are real estate agents here at Peak Properties in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and we bring you real estate stories that will inspire you, make you laugh, maybe cringe, and maybe cry. Come on in. We put the real in real estate.
Welcome. How are you today?
Oh, thank you. I'm doing well. I'm very pleased to be here.
Yes.
My heart's full of gratitude for you asking me to be on your podcast. So,
Of course.
let's get started.
Absolutely. So, if you would introduce yourself and tell us just a little bit about who you are, your family, your pet,
Okay.
what you do for a living, and how long you've lived in Cheyenne.
Okay, so my name is Connie Higgins,
Yes.
and my little 5-pound killer dog her name is Moxie. She's on
Moxie.
my lap now. She's very calm, and she'll sit here through the entire podcast, hopefully, and just behave.
And look at her collar.
Yes,
Yes.
she likes
Love
The bling.
Yeah, she
I do
usually
too.
I do too.
she usually has a little dress on, but she
Aw.
didn't wear it today because her bling was enough.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I have I've been a consultant all of my life, business consultant. I work with mid-level companies, so mid-market companies with their executive team, in order to help improve the businesses that they run. And I then became an entrepreneur. Along with that, I invest in properties for one thing, and but my passion project is fashion. And I opened up a consignment store in Denver about 12 years ago. I currently have about 1,500 consigners, and decided that my wonderful consigners, a lot of them donate their things after a 60-day period, and I was giving those clothing to girls' homes. We inundated them with clothing, and I didn't want to just send it somewhere where I didn't know where it was going. So I decided that I wanted to open up a shop that was for charity, that the proceeds from the shop went to help people to become more independent. So if they were dependent on a relationship that they wanted out of and felt like they couldn't, or if they were dependent on government funds and they wanted to free themselves from that and be able to take care of themselves, I wanted them to get the training and the coaching that they needed in order to do that. So while part of the reason I love my little shop is that I get to coach and advise and mentor young women and men also that work in my shop, and I've seen them blossom, and that just brings me so much joy. So so I decided, well, that's something that I want to continue to give back. I just recently graduated from Jay Shetty's certification school for coaching. And if you don't know who Jay Shetty is, you should really.
I definitely know.
He's
awesome.
He's an amazing individual, and I got to train with him and his folks through an international group. And I graduated yesterday. So
congratulations.
Thank you. I'm so super excited. And so the way I got here is that I have lived in Denver for 25 years. I grew up in Oklahoma. My grandparents had land in Colorado, and I would come spend the summers in Colorado, and decided that I wanted to live in Colorado when I grew up.
Yep.
I moved to Denver because of the location to the airport, because with my consulting business, I travel.
You needed to be able to get around.
Right. So it occurred to me about 2 years ago that I was kind of done with the big city, and I wanted to sort of go back to my roots of a small town and community. Although I love my neighborhood, I missed the community of the whole town. And so I actually first bought property right outside of Denver. I love my view there. But the community here is what the people here, the community here. I had bought a piece of property up here about the same time for an investment property. and I came up to Cheyenne. I absolutely loved it. Decided that that was where I was going to live.
Mhm.
And or once I got into the community that I was hoping for in Colorado wasn't nearly what Cheyenne was. And so I've sort of changed
I
my
love that.
mind. Yeah.
Mhm.
I've changed my mind on where it is my home is going to be. And it's going to be in Cheyenne. I love my view at my place outside of Denver, but the community here is fabulous. I started meeting people and I felt like I was in a beautiful garden that was attracting all these butterflies to me.
Oh, I love
right?
that.
Like
Yeah.
I immediately I met a bunch of wonderful entrepreneurs,
Yes.
and they just kept coming in and I learned about different community groups here that were already sort of doing what I'm doing for a particular group. I was made aware of Climb Wyoming,
Yep.
that
Helps
helps.
single moms.
Yes,
Yep.
and I
Great
want to be
program.
able to support that. So and I also wanted to bring my store here. And I said, you know what? I'm going to support the community programs that are already in place. And then when I discovered this coaching with Jay Shetty, I said, you know what? I'm going to continue to support them, but I want to support them as a coach. So I am going to my business here that will open soon. We receive all the donations from the consigners, so I'm calling it a consignment concept store because it's not a thrift store.
May I interrupt for just a
Yes,
moment? So
absolutely.
your consigners in Denver, will they still continue? We number one, will they still continue to give to your store? And number two, will you have two locations? Will you have one in Denver or one here? Or how will that work?
So yes, my consignment store in Denver, with the consigners that we have there that donate, I have been bringing their donations here for
Great.
almost 2 years now, and storing them. I have a wonderful warehouse,
Yes.
and I've been storing them in the warehouse, and we've been transferring that inventory over to go to the charity, to the store that's for charity, and so we will have a store here. It should be open this month, I'm hoping.
Yay.
It's taken a while. I knew that because I have two wonderful tenants in my building, and it worked out to where I was able to get the lease for one of the stores just recently, beginning of the
Right.
month, and be able to. I found a fantastic manager. She's young and got fire in her belly, and she's a beautiful person.
Yes.
That's been helping us prepare for the opening. So,
And I had a chance to tour her building and kind of see her dream and everything going on and sort of the organizing and getting ready for this store. And it is amazing the work that's going into it. And you're right, you do seem to have some great people there supporting you, whether it's in the, the businesses that are there or in the store that you're starting. I mean, it's all just, and the building is just beautiful. I mean,
thank you.
You're welcome. It's so
Thank
exciting. I
you.
can't wait to get to that part and talk about that.
Well, I'll tell you a little bit about that. So,
Okay.
So once I got to Cheyenne, I was like, you know what? I wanna have a store here. I love this community. I love the people. I love this small town feel. I love the main street.
Well, let me back up for just a second. Do you have family or relatives or friends that live here, or did you just like throw a dart at the wall, or how did you come up with
So
Cheyenne?
I don't have family that lives here. My family lives in Oklahoma and Nebraska. I grew up in Oklahoma. My parents still live in the same house I grew up in,
Mhm.
and I so we'll back up a little bit. I chose to live in Colorado because my family comes out here all the time because we
Okay.
still have the family cabin, and they're out here every summer. My parents come out here a lot.
Okay.
My sisters both come out here a lot. So I chose Colorado because that's where my family comes here anyway.
Okay.
So and of course Denver because that's the airport. Denver's too big for me. I grew up in Oklahoma. I grew up in a town that we supported each other and we knew each other, and we
Mhm.
had small shops, and so when I decided to leave Denver, I thought I was going to find that in the community that I purchased where I thought I was going to live, and I didn't find it. It's not that I don't like it. I didn't find that community. When I got here, I did. So I don't have any family here, but like I said, I came up and I was renovating the side of the of my property that I thought I might stay at sometimes. And I fell in love with Cheyenne. So
Wonderful.
I started looking for, I'm like, I have to open a shop here. And it didn't start with this service thing. It started with, I need to open a shop here. I did some research to see what kind of shops you had. You didn't have any high-end consignment stores. And the more people I talked to, the more of them said, you know what, we need a feeder from Denver because we don't have a lot of high-end shops. So, so that sort of registered. We'll keep the Denver store. Absolutely, because that's our feeder store. That's where we get the fashion that they can go to Cherry Creek Mall. They can go to, they have a lot of places. So in my store, we have everything from like, H&M and Forever 21, we don't take at the store in Denver because we're too small and I can't afford to take the lower level brands, even though they're super cute. Sure. We can't really take them because my store in Denver is half the size of my one here. And we have to be extremely choosy on the brand.
I would have thought it would have been opposite, that your store down there would have been bigger. And okay.
So in Denver.
Well, I suppose because there's less retail space. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And it's more expensive.
Yeah.
And so in Denver, we take very high-end items. We take mid-level. So like we love Free People. We get a lot of Free People, but we also get Gucci. We get Louis Vuitton. We get Stella McCartney. We get a lot of very high-end items as well. Our bread and butter is that mid range. So we have a lot of Loft. We have a lot of Eddie Bauer. We have a lot of Free People and Athleta and Lululemon.
Sure.
And the consigners there have 60 days on the shelf because we have to turn the And so a lot of them say, if you can find a good place to give it, I've already taken it out of my closet.
Sure.
Please give it to somewhere where it'll go to good. So the name of the store here is RRR, Fashion for Good. So fashion for good, meaning two things. This fashion's never going to go out of style. And it's also brought here for the good of other people. So that's fashion for good. The RRR has two meanings: reduce, reuse, recycle, because we're a green store, right? You're not buying things. Oh, some things are new, but they are things that I have bought at where stores have been closing. So I'll go in and be an in buyer and buy out a lot of. I did that with Charming Charlie's stores in Denver.
I love Charming Charlie's.
Well, we have a ton of Charming Charlie's stores.
Oh, right? That's good to know.
I supplied the store, so it's all around like green. But the other piece of that is my store in Denver is called Resend, and the tagline is renewed, reloved, re-energized.
Oh, right? That's really great.
So there's the 3 R's again.
Yes.
So when we were thinking, and then I love the whole Western brand, like the whole cattle brand, the RRR look. So it just sort of all fell together. Yeah. Like a lot of things have here. So that answers the question about the 2 stores. So we'll definitely keep those. But
so I heard you say, well, first of all, I want to tell you, and you and I talked about this on the phone, I think it was last week, that we have that connection of the sort of social service background and sort of merging that with entrepreneurship. And Lindee is the same. We both come from that families, working with families, Department of Family Services, whatever the case is, that passion for giving back to the community, caring about, for me, especially women, but of course, families overall, and how we can make a difference. So I really love how you are merging together that support for your community with your entrepreneurship. It's an awesome thing.
I can't tell you which I'm more excited about the store and being able to be able to sell that clothing and give that to coaching or the coaching part of it, because I am so thrilled to have the training and the cycles of learning that I went through with the Jay Shetty program behind me because I did it anyway.
Mhm.
But this is more personally focused toward a person. So I've coached executives with business and all this other, and then mentored the folks at my store. But this is just a whole new level, and to be able to help people who are underserved that need life coaching maybe more than anybody,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
they can't afford it. Coaching's expensive, and it's like anything else, you're investing in themselves, but sometimes that's all they can do is to keep care of their family, right?
Yeah.
And so, and a lot of times it is women who they give everything that they have to their families, and there's
Mhm.
nothing left for them.
them.
For them. And so this will allow us to actually have a network of coaches. So I am now connected to a network of coaches internationally through the Jay Shetty program, and I've talked to them. My particular cohort has 250 people. It's their biggest class ever. It
Wow.
is intense training, but it's so worth it. You grow so much in that process, personally and professionally. But I have that whole network. So I have big goals, right?
Well, so that actually kind of leads me to my next question, because I get the sense in a lot of what we're referring to as a jump story, where you make the decision to change an aspect of your life, correct? So you are the kind of person that maybe always has a lot of balls in the air. You're constantly thinking, constantly
Always.
doing all of the things. But did you have a specific day or a moment or a reckoning, if you will, where you're like, I'm ready to move out of here. I want to move to Cheyenne. I want to do this. And what prompted it?
It's interesting because it sort of was not just one jump moment. It was several leaps, and they did happen. I can remember the day that I decided I need to go to Cheyenne. I need to see what it's about. And I did. I called a realtor that day. And I thought, I'll take a couple of years. I'll look around. I found something within 2 weeks.
Oh, sure.
Right. And I couldn't.
If you go looking for it, you'll find
Right.
it, right?
It came to me. So then when I got up here, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to bring my store here. So that was the second leap. Right.
Mhm.
And then I think the third one was when I decided, when I felt both communities, and I was like, I thought this was sort of gonna be my home in outside of Denver, but no, this feels like my home because of the people, the community. So that was kind of the third one. Then the fourth one came with uh I listened to Jay Shetty's book on tape. It's 11 hours long. On my fourth time through that, like I've
Wow.
listened to it I'm not fifth time. I just put it on in the car because every time I listen to it, I hear some other
Yeah.
just
And it's easy
this-
listening,
this
probably. at that
sparkle
point.
of wisdom that I was like, oh, it hit me,
Yep.
So I was actually here in Cheyenne at my my building. They were renovating the place that I'm going to be living in above the shop. I love it.
Yes.
And I came across that he had a coaching school. I called him immediately. You have to apply to be accepted. I said, I want my interview. I don't want to apply. I want an interview. Like somebody,
Yeah.
and they're like, we did an hour-long interview, and the guy says, I'm admitting you. You're fine. You're great.
Oh,
And
that's
so,
wonderful.
yeah, so I got admitted immediately. And that's when I decided, now I know exactly how I am going to help organizations that are already established, right? So I don't have to go recreate the wheel. I
Sure.
can go to different organizations and I can say, look, I've got a network of coaches. I have the ability to pay them
Yep.
where they might not be able to provide this service for free.
Sure.
Because, just like any other career, even if you're serving. So I am so happy to be moving from corporate to actually serving, but you still have to pay your bills, right?
Yep.
And so these coaches do get paid, and I want to be able to provide an opportunity for the people who are underserved to kind of break through their barriers and have that feeling of self-worth and value that comes from being able to support yourself. And I now have a full network of coaches. And that sort of happened when I got into this training. I'm like, look at this whole network of people. And I could grow this. I want to start it here. This is my little seed. And I have plans to grow it across the United States and potentially internationally. I had cohort team members that were in India and Australia and Egypt.
Well, and I have to imagine that, and I want to touch on this a little bit, that what that does is help you to think bigger.
Oh,
right?
Absolutely.
Because when I recall when you and I were visiting before, when you were first looking at moving to Cheyenne and you were working with your realtor, you were looking at looking for smaller buildings.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. And then I don't know if it was Stacy that turned you on to this or how this went, but the building that you're in, and thinking bigger and thinking about what that looks like. So if you could walk us through that just a little bit, that transaction.
Okay, so that was during the time when I'm like, I love this community. I need to bring my store here, right? And so I started looking for a little building because I wanted to buy, because I also invest in properties. Makes more sense to buy than to rent.
Yeah.
So started looking for properties, and this one popped up, and it was way bigger than I wanted or needed. And it was way more expensive than I wanted or needed. And
it's a more historic building on Lincolnway.
It is. It's right at Lincolnway and Pioneer. It's the one with the beautiful mural of the horses. I just love
where it says Cheyenne and everyone has a picture.
There's more pictures of that building, I think, than any building in Cheyenne. And I love walking to my car, walking down the street and seeing people taking pictures of that mural. So I often like stop and say, hey, would you like me to take your picture as the group?
Sure.
And, so that's the building. And I said, I can't afford this building. It's way too big for me. And I was introduced to Stacy at first here.
Yes.
And I went and talked to Stacy, and Stacy said, well, let me just run some numbers here.
Stacy can make anything happen.
Oh my goodness. She is amazing.
Yes.
So she was like, oh, Connie, you can do this. And I'm like, oh, okay. And she goes, and here's how you'll do it. And she laid it all out. And I said, if you think that you can get that done, let's make it happen. So it happened all in that one day. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Wow.
I have this.
So you went from one business, one little store, to then this great big commercial property.
Yep.
And all the businesses that are in it.
Yes.
Plus there's something going on with the upstairs in terms of apartments or renovating or any of that.
So when I bought the building, the tenants that were in there, the tenant that actually he moved to it, he needed a bigger space anyway. So, but he was actually leasing the upstairs from the previous owner, and he was Airbnb it, right? And it was fabulously 70s. Upstairs. Like it really was cute. Like it was super cute, but
like with green shade carpeting too, or
no, it almost,
70s
almost it has that kind of color in the bathroom.
Okay.
But the carpeting had been replaced, and and so it was shag. It was like the tan color, but it's still shag.
Yeah.
So but that unit is 4,000 square feet. Like it's huge.
That's a lot of square feet.
And so when people were Airbnb-ing it really was really big. And so I decided that if I was going to have a space that big, I needed to, it had two living rooms and a bunch of bedrooms. And so when I did the renovation, I actually made the living spaces a little bit different. So the one side is still like super fabulously 70s. The bathroom. I'll never fix that bathroom. That's super fabulously 70s, right? But I felt like a space that big, it needed some extra bathrooms and to be able to accommodate a bigger crowd if you wanted to. So that became my living space. So that's where I'm living. I actually have room for roommates now. So I have a friend of mine is working here with Microsoft, putting in some of the cabling at the new Microsoft place. So he's actually staying there as well. But we have our spaces, and I do
want to touch on that a little bit because as people have been reaching out to us and we've been hearing about other people's jump stories, and of course, you're one of the first people that we're interviewing to share your jump story, which is super exciting. But as we've been getting stories, I really want to hit on the sort of normalcy or of living in your commercial property, of living where, if you're going all in on this commercial property to make this dream come true, which kind of means coming with and maybe in your case, this isn't really a sacrifice because it's a beautiful space up there, but sort of the sacrifice of not having a regular stick built home in addition to the business. Like you're living in your property,
Yeah.
which is, and we're hearing that a lot. A lot of
Yeah.
people are doing that.
Well, so to me, it's not a
sacrifice.
to me.
No.
No, but I'm not fully moved in by any means. I still have to sell my house in Denver. And when I do that, then I will be able to sort of fully move. But I'll also have I will have my little stick and mortar outside of Denver. It's small. It's small. It's like 1,000 square feet with a 200 square foot loft that currently has like the Home Depot metal stairs that they climb up on to get they roll them around. It has those stairs. So I guess my sacrifice is that that purchase was a very small cabin that was built in the 60s, that when I bought it had animals living in it. It had no utilities.
Oh my gosh.
But the view was beautiful. It had junk on it.
What we do for the view.
This person was a hoarder that owned it, and bless his heart, I would have loved to have met him. He had to have been eccentric, but I hauled off 8 dumpsters of trash off of the property. It's 3 acres. And so what I have sacrificed, which is okay, I'm happy with it, is that I had to put that whole project on hold. So I don't have the flooring completed. I don't have the railings up on the loft. I don't have stairs. I don't have, but I do have utilities, and I do have bathrooms and a kitchen. So that one, that's my sacrifice, and that's all it was.
Sure.
Because that was a little tiny property. It was a little tiny cabin. It was definitely a fixer upper.
Sure.
And that's had to be put on hold, but I'm okay with that because
you've got a dream in mind.
I have a dream in mind, and I love living upstairs in that property.
It is beautiful.
It is. It's
Yes.
Some people are like, oh my gosh, why are they revving their engines outside of because it's right on Lincolnway, right?
Right.
But my bedroom's in the back, and the train's there. Some people that would bother. I love it.
Yeah, I don't mind it
hearing the
either.
train.
Yep.
I love it. And
it can kind of lull you to sleep at night, can it?
Yeah.
Yep.
And the place is huge. So I have this huge bedroom that's like maybe half the size of, it's not half the size, but it's almost, I feel like
a
it's as big as
penthouse
my
kind
house.
of, right?
Yeah, I feel like it's as big as my house in Colorado. But yeah, so my house that got delayed getting it on the market because during that freeze last year, it flooded the basement, which I had a nice apartment. So that house will go on the market in April, and that will relieve a lot of stress for me to get that place sold.
Sure.
And it was also a labor of love. I've been in that place for 25 years, and that's the other side of, but I was ready. I renovated that place from bottom to top. Like everything in there is Connie. Everything.
Yep.
And
Yep.
people are like, are you sad because this was like a labor of love? And I said, no, it's ready. It's time for me to move on. And I'm so happy with my other places, my place in Cheyenne. I'm so ready. And I love my neighbors in Denver, but it's a big city. And I didn't grow up in a big city. I wanted to come back to community and to people. And I just am so grateful for all of the people that I've met here and the sense of community, because
Yep.
people just come out of the woodwork. I heard you were looking for this or this. So
Wyoming is good for that.
It's
definitely
wonderful.
Everywhere in Wyoming, I think.
Yeah. So
Yes.
I'm going to mention some people because I just truly love
Yes,
these people.
please do. Yeah.
So John Pulse at EMT 2020 has been a godsend. I met him when I first got up here. I think he knows everybody in Cheyenne. I'm pretty sure of it. And he started introducing me to other people. Stacy first, of course.
Yep.
Right.
That first year. Yep.
Got me here. And then I met Lexi over at Alexis Drake, and she was so
Oh,
supportive
yes.
and helpful. And then she introduced me me to her husband, who has been supportive and helpful, and he's on the board of Klein, Wyoming. And then, and my tenants that in the building, two wonderful ladies with great businesses. Like,
what businesses are in your
awesome.
building?
So Graffitos.
Graffitos, that's correct. Yep.
And in our place,
Yes.
that beautiful little windows that she does. I mean,
Yes.
she's amazing. So,
Yep.
Those two ladies have created their own businesses, and I'm so grateful to have them as tenants in my building.
Yep.
And then, oh gosh, there's so many people that I just, well, meeting you
Yeah,
through
thank you.
Stacy,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And I just, everybody just just comes
Has
out
come
of the
together.
together. So yeah, that the manager of my store, I met her through John, and she has a little group called, I think it's Fashion Up 307, maybe. That it's just a little group that she started because she loves fashion. And then I met her because I went to one of John's events where he had put on a fashion show, and that's how I met her.
Like here in
and her
Cheyenne,
mom. Yeah,
like a fashion show.
it
That's
was
awesome.
so cool. So so he brought in a lady from New York, and that was training models, and they had this little group of models that did a fashion show, and it was fantastic. But it was such a great, it was like, I'm telling you, it's like little butterflies flying into my garden, you know.
I love that.
And that's the way I think people, that's part of the coaching. Like, I really think for a long time I had butterflies, but I chased them, you know. I spend my time chasing butterflies, and I think the right answer is that you create your garden and the butterflies come to you.
Yes, I
It's
completely
such a
agree with that.
beautiful thing.
That's a great way to put that.
It's
Yep.
such a beautiful thing. And this community has been so welcoming.
Well, I think, and we talked about this with Deb yesterday in her jump story, but when you invest the kind of time that you have in your home and in your state, 20, 25 years, whatever the case is, and deciding to leave it to go pursue something else. And her statement was there was no, like, once the decision was made, you're just going, like, there's no regret. There's no trepidation. There's no, is it the same for you? Like,
no,
you're just off and running.
You know what? It's the right thing. And I have no regrets for leaving. I enjoyed Denver while I was there, but I knew in my heart it was never home, because it's a big city, and that's not who I am. I enjoyed it while I was there, but again, I was traveling a lot during that period of time.
Sure.
So and I love my little Victorian house there. It's beautiful. It is, like I said, it's Connied all over.
Connied.
But
I would love to see it.
Yeah.
You'll have to send us the link when we put it up.
I will.
We
And
want to see.
you know what's interesting is there's butterflies there too, because people in my neighborhood know that I'm getting ready to sell it, because we're close. And one of my neighbors there is a realtor, called me last week and said, Connie, I know your house is not on the market, but I have this client, and can they come?
Of course.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I have people looking at it. It's not even on the market yet, but I have this
Well, you have some good realtors in your circle, apparently. So
and you know, I had never dealt with her from a real estate perspective before. She's just a wonderful neighbor. And I was like, oh gosh, it's not staged. It's not, she's like, I think they can look over that. I'm like, yeah, they can't look over the sheetrock dust. I just have to see that. So just let me clean the woodwork. Right. So
that's the thing. And we hear this a lot from homeowners or sellers, that they just need to fix this or fix that or whatever the case is. And sometimes that's true. And then other times it's like, you really don't need to. Your house is going to sell as it is. People are going to see the overall ambiance of it.
And I think that's true. I just told her, I said, I just don't think it's fair to my house to not have that beautiful woodwork showing, because the woodwork, it was built in 1910. The woodwork in there has never been painted, which is hard to find.
Yes, that's like this house that we're in right now, this office. It's never been painted either, and most of the places were painted white.
Right. And it's so beautiful. And by the way, I'm only the third owner of this house. And so,
wow.
Built in 1910, and I'm the third owner. The person who built it was an architect in Denver, and he built this house for himself. So it's very unique. and it's been very well taken care of. So
Yes.
the woodwork is amazing. I'm like, no, you don't understand. I can't do this to my house.
This house is
It
due the
deserves
respect. Yeah.
the respect of cleaning the woodwork.
That's funny. Well, let
So-
me ask you, for anybody that's considering a journey similar to yours, what would be your number one piece of advice to them?
Follow your dreams. Don't
Yeah.
let any limiting beliefs stop you. Don't let fear stop you.
Mhm.
And again, seriously, if you need to break through those, find a good coach. It could be
Yes.
a friend. It would be totally worth it to spend the money. I have coaches. Like
Yes.
I get
I'm a firm
coached,
believer in mentors
right?
and coaches. Yes.
And do not let any of your limiting beliefs stop you from living your dream. Believe, if you believe it can happen, it will happen. It might happen with a lot of work. You talked about sacrifices. It I have I It's a kind of a sacrifice, but I haven't had a personal life in a long time because I have been immersed in the Jay Shetty school and in getting the store ready and in getting
Mhm.
so it doesn't just happen. Like I believe in manifestation, but I don't believe that if you just think something enough, it's going to happen. There's work behind it.
Yes. And
Exactly.
sacrifice.
And sacrifices.
Yep.
And they might not be sacrifices like, oh my God, I'm giving up this and I don't want to. They are sacrifices in time and energy and money. And those are the resources that you have, right?
Yep.
So if you believe in something and you want it to happen, you're going to be spending your time and your money and your resources and your thoughts and it doesn't just happen. It's a lot of work, but you can make things happen. You can manifest things and make them happen. If you believe that you can do it, you can do it. And if you know it can be done and you don't believe in yourself, get help.
Yep. Get yourself the mentor, the coach, the cheerleader.
Absolutely. The cheerleader even, right?
Yep.
Because it can happen. Surround
Surround yourself
yourself
with people as well that cheer you on,
Right.
believe in you.
Yes.
Yep.
And if you don't believe in yourself, surround yourself with people who do believe in you and help them. Let them help you see what you have inside of you.
I love
Let
that.
them help. Listen to them.
Yes. I
So,
love that.
Yeah.
Do you want to ask your question?
Yes, I will ask you. The last question is, if you could purchase property anywhere in the world, where would it be
And why?
and why?
Look at that face.
No,
Oh.
I'll get choked up because I think I already did.
Oh,
Aww.
we love that. Here. Oh, that
Yeah,
makes our
here.
heart happy.
And people might think that that's crazy or silly but you know what? I thought about this question a lot and I'm like, it'd be nice to have property in Hawaii or Iceland or, some of the places that I visited that I really love. But the property that I want to own is the property where I live. It's the community where I live. I mean, it's nice to have a vacation place. I've had those. And
Yeah.
it's nice to, but it's really the place that I'm spending my time. It's the community that I want to be in. And I bought it. I
Oh,
did it.
yay. Congratulations.
Yes, and we're happy to have you here in Cheyenne.
Yes, yeah, we're
you.
Cheyenne. You're going to be a tremendous asset to this community, and we're so happy to have you here.
Oh, thank you.
welcome.
You already have so many beautiful people. And they've welcomed me. So I feel like I have. I know that might sound crazy.
No,
but
you're actually.
I love
We
it.
thought when we asked that question, we were going to get like Costa Rica or somewhere in Mexico or something like that, and that's not what we're hearing.
Mm-mm.
We're
No.
hearing locally, someplace we can get to and spend time at and be a part of.
Yep.
And
Yep. And I'm very happy to have my little place in the mountains that's close to here.
You can go
I'm less
visit.
than 2
Yeah.
hours, and
Yeah.
I'll definitely be sharing my time between those places. But I have the property that I want.
That's
I'm
fantastic.
so blessed to be able to have the property that I want. And that's the other thing, that advice. People invest in different things, and I can tell you that investing in real estate, and I'm not a big investor. I started out with a little house that I paid $40,000 for, and when I bought it when I was young, that was a lot of money.
Yeah.
And with every property, and I know that in any investment, there's ups and there's downs, but I look at it as a supply and demand. There's never going to be any more land.
Right.
And
Exactly.
so in the laws of supply and demand, the things that there are no more supply at, that the price of those goes up. So I would encourage anybody that has an opportunity to buy small and to buy maybe a fixer upper, to buy whatever, to start investing in their own property, because that's how I grew. So that property, I was able to sell that and move up to the property in Denver, which
Yep.
by the way was a wreck when I bought it, but I could afford it. And I spent I think there's still stuff I haven't quite finished, but I spent that whole time, like, as I had money, I put it in my house and I put it in my house. And then that property actually gave me the assets to be able to borrow against to buy this big property here
And to move and make your dream happen.
to make that dream happen. And so from an investment standpoint, even if it's just little, even if it's not the house of your dreams or the house of, like, sometimes you just have to do it. It might not be perfect, but you do little steps. Like this, this is a little step for me because I have bigger dreams. I want to make this whole availability of coaches to go, international if I can. So, but you start small. Start small, and real estate has really served me well. I'm not a huge investor, but I am, because I now have a rental property and I'm owner of a commercial building. Right?
Well, it's afforded you the ability to pursue your dreams, and we're so excited for you. And it's a great message for young people that are looking to purchase their first home. It maybe isn't going to be the most perfect or luxurious home, but you just get started and start putting one foot in front of the other. That's right. It's
yours, and you're paying for your house and your investment, and that investment's going to grow, and then you can move to a bigger one or a better one, or a one that as you grow,
Yep.
It's beautiful.
And I think, and that ties into our final comment that we make every time.
Yes.
We are excited to be podcasters, but we sell real estate.
Yes.
And we help people buy and
go
sell
ahead,
real
start
estate.
over.
So if any of our listeners are looking to buy real estate or sell real estate in Wyoming, we would love to help you reach your real estate goals. You can visit us at sellcheyenne.com, or my name is Lindee Wilcher.
And I'm Rhea Parsons, and we're happy to help you. Thanks. And one more thing, Connie, where can people find your store, and about what time, when is it going to open?
So our location is in my building, which is on Pioneer and Lincolnway. The actual address for my store is 319 West Lincolnway. It is between my two lovely tenants, April at Graffitos and Dawn at our place.
Okay.
Right there, sandwiched in the middle. And my other tenant, I have the little, I don't know why, attached to this property is the Freedom's Edge.
The little brewery.
Yes. They are fabulous.
Love that.
Yes.
Yeah. So
when will you be opening?
Oh, sorry.
Nope, you're fine.
Opening this month, sometime this month. I'm putting it out there. It might not be perfect, but you know what? That's how you do things. You just jump in. It might not be perfect, and we'll improve as we go.
We've done the same thing with this
podcast.
Absolutely. You just do it.
You just got to start.
You just start. Just do it. So sometime this month we are going to be open.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on today.
Welcome.
It's been wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Yay. We hope you loved that episode with Connie.
Yes.
And that you will go see her business and visit her when it opens.
And meet her and hear her story.
She's amazing. You would love her.
Yes.
And our next guest next week is Heather Kibler. And Heather Kibler is a military wife, and she has a great story, and we had a really great time talking to her about her and her husband buying their first home and just the military aspect of things.
You know what's funny, and I really thought about this after Heather's story, and she's a great storyteller, by the way. She was a pleasure to have on the show. We think that we're potentially going to go into an interview with the guest talking about one thing, and then it becomes about something else. It's still real estate related, but when you kind of get to the heart of the matter, her story, I think, will benefit a lot of people in, like you say, their family being a military family, and sort of the timing of when they chose to purchase real estate.
Yes.
Right around the
exactly.
holidays here. So yeah, it was a pleasure to hear from her.
I agree. So stay tuned for Heather Kibler's episode being released on Tuesday.
Thank you.
This episode of Beyond the Front Door is brought to you by Peak Properties in Cheyenne, Wyoming. With over 75 years of combined experience in real estate, it's our goal to help clients buy and sell and save by providing the information you want and the professional services you expect. Let us help you with your residential, commercial, HUD, income-producing properties, as well as vacant land and rental needs. To learn more, visit www.sellcheyenne.com.